bonjour. Hope you're doing well. Today we are making Paris-Brest. Yeah, I'm terrible at the French accents, but yeah, it's okay. Today we're going to be making Paris-Brest, so we're doing my own twist on it, coffee and praline. And what's Paris-Brest? Don't be dirty-minded, guys. This is a beautiful French dessert made with choux pastry, so we're going to pipe it out into a nice, beautiful ring. We're going to fill it with a custard cream, and we're going to do that coffee and praline cream, so custard cream, shall I say. But I hope you guys and gals are going to enjoy it. So the first thing we want to do is make that beautiful praline. So I've got a large pan on a medium heat with a mixture of nuts in here. I've got a cup of whole almonds, or 140 grams, and we've got those cheeky hazelnuts as well, so 100 grams or 2/3 of a cup. And you just want to basically make sure they don't burn. Give them a little bit of a toss for about 10 minutes, just until you can smell the oils coming out of the nuts, or they've just toasted lightly. Careful you just don't burn them. So while you're waiting for your nuts to toast off, that didn't quite sound right. We need to weigh out our fine granulated sugar. So you need 220 grams or 1 cup, and also a nice cheeky pinch of salt in there, and set that aside. And don't forget to give your nuts a bit of a toss as well. Chat, this is really not ending well, is it? This conversation is not good. Right, so finally, after your nuts are nicely toasted, no more puns now, chat, no more. What we're gonna do is lay them out on a tea towel, or if you haven't got a tea towel, I would probably say some kitchen roll. And what we're going to do is pretty much set the pan aside. It's just pretty much cover this up. And what we're going to do, just give them a nice little rub, just to take off any excess shells. Obviously the almonds won't come off, but just for the hazelnuts. And if somebody says I'm rubbing my nuts, I'm walking off now. So we're going to let those bad boys cool down, and we're going to come back over to the stove with that cheeky pan. So leaving that pan onto a medium heat, what we're going to do is start adding the sugar and the salt into the pan, and start creating that beautiful caramel. So once you've got that beautiful dark rich caramel and the sugar's all dissolved, add the nuts, and then get a plastic or a silicone spatula, shall I say, and give that a nice little kind of mix round. So pouring the nuts onto a silicone mat ready onto a tray, I should have told you beforehand, and then put the other mat over the top. So we're pretty much just flatten it down just to get that nice thin praline. So don't go hammering it because you'll crush the nuts. So after a little bit of rolling, it's still very, very hot. So we've got a nice, beautiful praline here. We're just gonna let that chill its boots. So before we blend this, what we're gonna do is just snip off a little bit of the praline so we can use this as garnish in the inside. So there we go. We've just snipped off a little bit of the praline there, so that'll be for garnishes for later on. So if you've got issues with caramel with the pan, just pop a little bit of water in there, put it back on the stove onto a medium heat. Just let the sugar dissolve instead of scrubbing away. So it's finally cooled down, and I can't wait for this. Are you ready, guys? Beautiful, look at that. Fantastic. So once you've broken up the praline and it's all pretty much cooled down, what we're gonna do, pop it into a food processor. I'm just gonna blend some of it up just lightly. So we're going to use a little bit of this for garnish as a dust. So I'm going to put that into a separate bowl. And we're going to pour the rest of the praline in there, and we're going to blend it up into a paste. Now this paste takes a bit of patience, so it's going to take about 15 minutes or so. So blending it, moving it about with a spatula, putting it back on, blending it again until it's in that nice paste. So it's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. So after about 15 to 20 minutes, this does require a lot of patience. You will get that beautiful praline paste. So be super patient with it, super important. So being super patient really pays off, and you get that beautiful paste. So that's fantastic. Now, if you were like me yesterday, who was practicing this, and I got a little bit impatient, and I forgot if you add water to heat, what's going to happen? It's going to split. So pretty much made almost like a taffy. So just be careful. Please don't add anything to it. You've got to be super patient to get that paste. Next thing we want to do is stick the oven on 350 Fahrenheit, 180 Celsius. So it's choux time. I mean, not this kind of choux. Choux pastry. So we're going to start making that choux pastry next. So we're going to need 240 ml or 1 cup of water and 1 stick of butter or 114 grams. So we're going to put this onto a high heat, melt this down. As soon as it becomes boiling, we're going to add the flour. So let's weigh out the flour next. So we're going to need 135 grams of flour or 2/3 of a cup. Sifted of course. So we're also going to need 225 grams of eggs or 4 medium eggs. Chef, that one isn't medium. Well, they don't know this, do they? Well, a bit late now. So the butter's melted, it's come up to a boil, so we're going to add the sifted flour straight in. And we're going to give that a nice little beat. And we're going to beat this. Carefully don't beat it straight away, otherwise you're going to splash hot liquid in your face. What we're going to do is just beat this for about 5 minutes, just to kind of elasticate that flour from the gluten. Right, so that beauty is bound together. What we're going to do is actually pop that in a tray and spread it out. Keep the pan. You don't want to wash it because we're going to use it later on. While you're putting this into a tray, reason for it, we're increasing the work surface area so it actually cools down. Chef, don't make a mess. Sorry. So spread it out onto your tray. What you want to do is let that cool down for about 5 minutes. And while you're waiting, you can crack your eggs into a bowl. Cheeky little whisk. Or shall I say fork? Either way. Mix it up until it's incorporated. Right, so once that is actually cooled down, we're going to pop that straight back into the pan. If you're wondering, why do we want to cool it down? It's just so these bad boys don't scramble when we add them. So we're going to add little by little, giving it a mix. And I know you might think, oh my God, look at it, it's a mess. It will incorporate, just keep mixing it. But Chef is not mixing. Keep mixing it. Keep mixing it. And then by the end of it, you should have some nice, silky, beautiful choux pastry. And you might need to wipe your forehead as well. So next thing, we're going to pop this into a piping bag. So you're after the piping bag and you want a thick nozzle. That's a double C, guys. And then you just want to fill that beautiful piping bag without making too much of a mess. I mean, oh, no, oh God. So next you want to grab yourself a tray, a beautiful silk mat, and also parchment paper. So this is about 23 centimeters or 9" all the way around. What we're going to do is pop this underneath very carefully and just use this as a kind of template, so to speak, if it will go in the middle. Come on, there we go. If you haven't got a silk mat, you can use parchment paper, draw on it, and then flip it over, making sure you pop a little bit of the mixture in each corner just to hold it down. So what we're going to do is just pipe nice and carefully all the way around. And I'm going to pipe another one in the middle. And then another one on top. Are you crazy, Chef? No, absolutely not. Maybe a little bit. And then we got some flaked almonds, and then all you want to do... I don't think that quite worked, did it? What you want to do is just carefully flake them over the top. And there we go. So that's ready to go in the oven. Also, we've got a little bit of spare, so we're going to pipe a little bit more on another tray. So if you don't want to make the big one, you can make some mini ones if you want to. So... just pretty much going all the way around. You don't have to use a template for this. Well, you can if you want. And same again, get those beautiful almonds on there. So these bad boys are going to take about 35 to 40 minutes in the oven, so let's pop them in now. So while those bad boys are cooking, we're going to start making the praline and coffee custard. So we're going to need 500 ml of milk, 2 cheeky teaspoons of vanilla extract, also 2 teaspoons of that beautiful praline paste. Yeah, it's about enough. And a shot or an espresso of good quality coffee. Yeah. Delicious coffee. Did you know Americans consume 400 million cups of coffee per day, making the United States the leading consumer of coffee in the world? The more you know. Where's my swooshing title of More You Know? I guess I'm no Joshua Wiseman or Bingham with Babish, right? Back to the custard. So, we want to pop that beautiful coffee and praline mix onto a medium heat. Careful that doesn't boil over, so keep an eye on it. So, now we're going to weigh out the rest of the custard mix. We're going to need 6 cheeky egg yolks. Chef, that's only 5. Yeah, one of them broke. It's in there. In addition, we want 90 grams of fine granulated sugar or 7 tablespoons. We also want 20 grams of flour or 4 teaspoons. Also 20 grams of cornstarch or 4 teaspoons as well. And then give that a nice little cheeky whisk into a nice beautiful paste. Beautiful, ready to go. Oh, my milk! Just in time. Just add a little tiny bit to begin with. Give it a stir around without splashing yourself. So once that's pretty much all incorporated, what we're going to do is actually pour this back into the pan. Putting it back onto the heat onto a medium. Perfect. And then just continuously whisking nice and gently until it's thickened to the right consistency and we've cooked out those beautiful eggs. So we've actually come up to the right consistency now. Goodness me, I'm steaming up the camera here. To the right beautiful thickness. But I'm just going to leave it on for another 2 minutes just to make sure those eggs are beautifully cooked out. Excellent. So that's ready to go. So let's take this off now. Oh, who had this ready for me? Oh, fantastic. Magic, right? You can't fool him, chef. It was you. Maybe. So grab yourself a tray lined with cling film. I'm just going to pour this mixture in here just to kind of cool down. And then just a little touch of cling film to go over the top. Just pat it out. Fantastic. So let that chill and we'll come back to this later on. Now, I know I said 35 to 40 minutes, but for me, for my oven, I'm going to take about 40 to 50 minutes for the Paris Brest. So I'm going to wait. While we're doing that, I'm going to whip up a cheeky bit of cream for that custard. So we're going to need 500 ml or 2 cups of heavy cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. In addition, we want about 45 grams of confection sugar or icing sugar, which is about 3.5 tablespoons or so. So you want to whip that all together. You can do this on the machine, but I'm not lazy. Sorry, chat, what were you saying? I can't remember what we were talking about now. So, whew, goodness me, all that exercise. Once that's come up to peak, we can set this aside. Oh yeah, this. Ooh la la, goodness me. So, about an hour. We've actually given it instead of, what did I say, 30 to 35 minutes? Really comes down to depending on your oven and also elevation as well. So we've actually been very nice and careful. So that's looking beautiful. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. So we're actually going to put this onto a cooling rack, let them cool down, and then we're going to cut them in half after that. So our custard is actually cooled down now. So we're going to pop that straight into a bowl. Whoa, without making too much of a mess. And we're just going to give that a nice little whisk up. Don't worry, I'm not getting my machine out again. Just until it's nice and silky and glossy. So we're going to add the cream to the custard and we're just going to fold it through. So once it's incorporated beautifully, what we're going to do is pop this into a little cheeky piping bag with a star nozzle on it. So using a pastry knife or serrated knife, what we're going to do is cut into this in half, being very, very careful. Watch your fingers. Careful not to knock off too many almonds. So what we're going to do is pipe this in very carefully. And then on top, that beautiful praline dust we made earlier on. Just going to add a bit of that on top. Then the beautiful praline itself, we're just going to stick a few little crunches on there. Fantastic. Well, I said a few, but pretty much all of them. And then we're just going to finish it off by putting the top and finishing it like so. Fantastic. And then just to give it that little bit more touch, just a little dusting of icing sugar or confection sugar, just to finish that little bad boy off. So did you really think I was going to finish without giving you guys and gals a nice little cheeky cross section of this little mini one? So goodness me, are you ready for it? I hope so. Wow, absolutely fantastic. Nice, crisp, that beautiful custard cream in there with the coffee, the praline. Oh my goodness me. And there it is, amigos. There is our Paris Brest with the praline and coffee custard cream and that beautiful choux pastry. Goodness me, absolutely fantastic. And that's it, amigos. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed the Paris Brest with the coffee and praline. Delicious. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to catch me cooking live on Twitch, Tuesday to Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I will be there. Link is in the description box below. But until next week, amigos, stay cheeky.